everyone, this is Matt from Project Lancer, and in this video we're going to be transferring a new WordPress site build to a new domain. So whether you've created a new WordPress site locally or you've created on a temporary domain, or whether you have an existing website that you're trying to replace with a new build or fresh domain, all these steps are going to be relatively the same and should work for your needs. So let's go ahead and dive in, and we should cover everyone's use case as we move along. So I'm currently logged into my SiteGround account, which is my hosting provider, and all the actions that we're going to be taking here are hosting provider specific, but the actual steps should be the same no matter who you work with. Either it's GoDaddy or HostGator or whoever it may be, right? The steps are the same, just where you access this information may be a little different. So that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So I have two sites. I have this Matt M 2014 and Matt M 2000 or 204. And so we're going to actually replace 2014 with what we've built in 2004 or 204, sorry. And so let's go ahead and take a look. So if we go to Site Tools, we're going to go ahead and go to our WordPress installation. Let's just look at what we're working with. So we got this really basic WordPress build, right? But it does sit on this domain. So we go back to our account and we look at 204. You can see we have a different WordPress installation. And you can see we have this little Ultra Coffee, right? So we're going to replace Ultra Coffee from 204. I keep doing that. Don't expect that to change to 2014. So let's go ahead and see what we do. We come back and we go to 2014. The first thing we want to do is, for replacing a domain, we want to back up what we're currently working with. Right, so if we go to our sites and file manager, you can see we have a public HTML. And again, you're going to be able to access the file manager no matter what your hosting provider is. It may not look like this, but you need to get into your file manager. You can see our public HTML, and you can see we have our WordPress installation here. This is what we need. So we're going to go ahead and select that all. I've already selected it. Right, we would select it and we would archive it or put into a zip file. I've already done this, and it's in a zip file called old site build. You would then take this and download it. We would then go to our MySQL. What we want to do is we want to access our phpMyAdmin for this particular domain. You can see our database here, and we would want to export that, right? So you would save both these to your local host, which I have already done. So I save mine in my htdocs for my XAMPP directory, just because this is where I like to save all of my WordPress files. And you can see we have this old site reference. You can see both of these here, the database that I've exported and the old site build zip file, right? So I like to just have these backed up. If you're ever replacing an old site, always have a backup, right? Just words of wisdom, always do it. So now we can go ahead and replace this site with our new one. So if this is a new site build or a new domain that you're putting this stuff on, you would not have to do those steps, right? The database shouldn't be there, and the WordPress files wouldn't be there either, right? You could just skip all of that and move to what we're about to do. So if I go back to my account and I go to my new site build on 204, let's go to the file manager here, public HTML. Again, find our WordPress installation. I can see I do have some zips. This is my first time doing this kind of thing. I'm going to go ahead and delete these. I got a new site zip. I'm going to delete that as well, just so we can see everything that I'm doing. But I am going to highlight all of these And I'm going to condense these into a zip file as well. And I am going to call it new site. Click confirm. And we're just zipping everything up. We're going to zip it up and we're going to download it. Now, if you cannot access this through the file manager, you could use a tool like FileZilla and FTP into this, right? In which case you would go to your FTP accounts and you would create a user to FTP into this particular thing. But the file manager does allow us to download this, and so it makes our lives a little bit easier. So now that we have that downloaded, let's go ahead and go to MySQL. Let's go to the phpMyAdmin, access that phpMyAdmin, find our database, and we're going to export this thing as well. So let's go ahead and say go. So let's go ahead and open up our file manager, go to our downloads, and we're going to grab new site and our new database. We're going to cut those, go back to our htdocs. I'm going to create a new folder and I'm going to call this new site build. I'm going to paste those in there. Right, so we got our new site and we got our new data and our old database. So I am going to go ahead and extract this. So the big thing that we're going to see, and it again depends on what your hosting provider is, but sometimes you need to change a file inside of this for your new build. So while that's extracting, let's go ahead and go back over to our site tools or our hosting provider and go to the site that we're trying to upload all this stuff to. In our case, this 214. So I'm going to go to my site tools. I'm going to go to my WordPress installation. And it is going to be different based on who you're working with. I'm going to go ahead and delete this stuff. Right, so now we're going to delete everything we have here. I don't want to keep anything. Right, so if we go to our site and we look at MySQL, you can see our database is gone. Let's go ahead and go to our file manager. You can see all this stuff. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all of this as well. So we're looking at an empty site now. Go to MySQL. Let's look at our users. We do have a user. You can either leave this or change it. We're going to go ahead and create one. So we got a new user and a new password. I'm going to go open up a text editor here. And you're just always going to need to have to record this kind of stuff. So if I go open up a new text file, let's go ahead and record this username and this password. And then we're going to go over to databases and we need to create a database. So in SiteGround, it creates it for you. Sometimes you get to name the database, sometimes you don't, right? It just depends. So we're going to go ahead and copy this database name. Come back to our file and we're going to put that database in there as well. So now we need to add a user to this. Let's go ahead and add new user, and let's add that new user that we selected. So this was user UGN3. We're going to select them. They get all privileges. We click confirm. So this database has a new user. So if we go to phpMyAdmin and access it, we should see that new database there. We're going to select that. We're going to import. We're going to choose a file. And we're going to choose that new site build database and upload it. And click go. And it's been successfully updated. However, if you look in here, you see this PYN options. This value is going to be a little different based off of what you save your files as. It may be WP options, it may be whatever, but it's going to be underscore options. We go in here, you can see two values in this table. It's going to be site URL and home, and we need to update these to our new domain. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight our new domain. And we're going to go ahead and edit these. 204 needs to become 214. Let's go ahead and edit the other one as well. Click go. So by this time, our extraction should be done. And what we need to do is we need to access this file inside of our WordPress build. Keep in mind, this is our new build. If I open this WP config up, what we're going to see is we're going to see some values in here that we need to change. So you see a database name, you see a database user, and a database password. So this is exactly what I meant by some hosting providers let you name the database and create those values yourself. If they do, you can put them as the same values that you have here. SiteGround didn't. So we need to update these with our new database user and password. So if we look at our text file, let's go ahead and grab our old database, our new database name, put it in there. Let's grab our new password. And grab our new user. And save. So now that we have saved this config file, let's go ahead and go back to new site build. Let's delete the zip folder. And let's go ahead and compress this back into a zip file. You can see new site. So let's go ahead and hop over to our hosting provider. Go to our file manager of our new build. Go to our public HTML, and we're going to upload this file. Let's go ahead and upload the new site zip. And once it's uploaded, we can extract this and we can start testing some stuff out. Alrighty, uploaded. So let's go ahead and extract these files. I'm going to go ahead and dive deep in there, select all of these relevant files. I'm going to copy them. We're going to move back up to public HTML, paste, and then let's delete that site files directory. So we're just left with our new WordPress builds. And you cannot always come in. I'm going to go ahead and delete this site zip file as well. If we look at our WP config, you cannot always edit these. This is why we extracted and edit them. So we should see if we open up our text editor, these should match up with those values. So database name, user, password. Okay, so they match up. And they should then match up with the database that we uploaded as well. So let's go ahead and look at the MySQL, look at our PHP MyAdmin one more time. Make sure this value, QC6R, matches up with QC6R. Okay, so we should be good. Now this should intrinsically work. If we take this value, copy it, and paste it, you can see that our WordPress site works. We're up and running on our new domain. You're good to go. However, in your hosting provider, I'll admit they don't always recognize that. You can see there's nothing here. You could say add existing site and add it, right? So we just added our new thing to our hosting provider, but you don't need to do that, right? And say you want to update your username, you want to update your password. So like if I go to my SQL database and I go to PHP by admin and I look at my users here, if I go to users, I can see me here. I don't actually remember what my password is for this. I'm just going to scroll down, select an MD5 because that's what they use. I'm going to type in a new password. Brick Mountain. Question. Few exclamation points. No, let's just go ahead and say go. It's going to update that guy. So now if I go back to here, WP admin, Brick Mountain, boom, I'm in, right? So we've got our new WordPress site up on our new domain. We've replaced our old WordPress site and we have accomplished everything we're looking to do. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions or you want me to do any other like variations of this, feel free to let me know. But I do think I've covered like all the core concepts, right? If it was a new site build and you had never put anything on that domain, the exact same steps apply. You just don't need to back up the site. If you built it locally, same steps apply. You just don't need to download the files from the temporary site build, right? At the end of the day, it's always going to be uploading the files either through your hosting provider or through like FileZilla and FTP and getting that file directory into the public HTML and getting your MySQL database uploaded into your database and making sure that WordPress config file matches up with the database user as well as the database password and name of the actual database, and then making sure that you change the MySQL database table in the options to reflect your new domain. You do all of those, it should work, and you shouldn't have any issues. So again, thanks for listening. I hope this was helpful. And again, if you have any issues, want me to cover anything else, feel free to comment. And again, thanks for listening.